of the internet. How do? I am that Efkin guy, and it's time once again for me to attempt to talk about a movie with some friends before my brain shuts down, as I'm in the middle of a run of night shifts and my cats refuse to let me sleep past 2 p.m. The furry bastards. On this show, Halloween is over, so I can stop using the word spooky season and just watch horror films for the sake of it. Today, a documentary, which also could pass for a horror film really, depending on who you are. I mean, would you like it if you were made to strip naked, live in a tiny studio apartment you couldn't leave, only living off things you win from magazine competitions, all the while being live streamed on the internet? I mean, we all know that one weirdo, sex booking. Join myself and Monorants as Total Cockzone presents The Contestant.
If you put what we're about to show you in a movie, I doubt anybody would believe it.
本当にテレビの神様がいるとしたら、これ悪魔じゃないですか。
Dampashona was the most popular show in Japan at the time.
The challenge is to see whether someone can survive on competition prizes alone.
He has no food, no clothes.
He doesn't even know he's on television.
アイデアを思いついた時は、やっぱ自分で俺天才だなと思いましたよ。
Every week, more than 30 million people tune in.
Reality TV was not yet a thing. The Truman Show didn't come out till later the same year. They had to cover up his genitalia with something. Nasubi's name means eggplant. That's probably where it all started.
We're back today with the Monorants. How are you doing on this fine morning?
Pretty good. Bit typical.
Got none of that.
Yeah, it just came up at the very end there saying your internet connection is unstable.
And your face froze
Your
in a
face
very
froze.
funny position.
No.
It's always the funniest position.
You were very surprised, Pikachu. Like, ooh. Yeah.
Dodgy connection, as always for you guys. Change of pace though for the film. Documentary.
Yes. First time we've done a documentary anywhere, I think.
Well, an actual documentary.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, because we've done like mockumentaries and
yeah.
footage.
Oh, okay, yeah. But like, they're not documentaries.
No, they're not real people experiencing real things and making me feel really, really mad on his behalf.
That poor man.
Poor man. Like, I am actually like genuinely mad. If I ever met that producer, I might actually like throw hands.
Yeah, it's a fair amount to unpack today. So I'll get to the press intro out of the way. The Contestant, the incredibly true story of a man who lived for 15 months trapped inside a small room, naked, starving, and alone, and completely unaware that his life was being broadcast on national TV in Japan to over 50 million viewers a week. Before Big Brother, before The Truman Show, there was the shocking story of Nasubi. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to know.
Dude, like, completely just thrown in that room. Like, there's not... When you read that out, you think, okay, yeah, so like some sort of early reality TV show. And like when people do those sort of things, it's like, oh yeah, they put out like a press call for auditions for this kind of show.
And like when they put him in there and they're like, strip. Like, what? Strip. Because not only are you going to be stuck in this room with no clue what's going on, you don't even know you're going to be stuck in this room. You're also going to be naked.
Like,
just for an added like insult to injury.
At least in Old Boy, he had all the mod cons. Like, this guy has nothing.
Never ending supply of your old word has escaped my brain. Those great things, crunchy dumplings,
Crackers?
so on. Yeah, never ending supply of dumplings. He had loads of them. He had nothing apart from what he won in competitions.
And I thought when they were like, surely they're going to be feeding him. And they were like, oh yeah, we were giving him like a little bit of food. And then the second he won food, it was like, we stopped giving him food.
Oh my God, the heartbreak when he realised he hadn't won saucepans and he couldn't cook the rice he had won.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, I actually felt like crying for him. And then when he made his little like fibre jelly pudding and the joy and it being like, oh my God, this is actually tasty. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, it was a tough watch.
Yeah.
That poor bastard.
Yeah, you had one of the TV guys saying about how they needed to give him some food. 'Cause, obviously we couldn't let him die. But that's good to know.
That producer, I'm sure we're going to talk about him a lot, had a line at the end where he was talking about like taking things too far. And he's like, obviously, if I push somebody so far that they committed suicide, that would be going too far. That would be wrong. And it's like that would be wrong. Not everything you did to this poor guy.
And not to be like blunt, but I'm pretty sure the only reason he didn't is because it's something that's so frowned upon within Japanese culture as well.
Yeah.
And like he had felt like he had like disgraced his family by breaking the promise to them, even though he didn't know that what he was doing was going to be broadcast in the way it was as well. Like he was told it wouldn't be shown at all. So he was like, oh, well, I promised my mom I'd never get naked, which is a very reasonable promise. And then finding out against his will that it had been broadcast to everybody.
But even before that, like his mental state was so messed up that as far as he could see, his only two options were continue with the task or commit suicide, not quit and walk out the door. Like well, from what we were told, he wasn't.
Locked in.
Did he think he was locked in?
Mm-hmm.
No, he wasn't locked
But
in.
no, he couldn't have because like
He could
was
have left
going to the
anytime he
door
wanted.
to like get his
Yeah.
prizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he could have, but at that point in his mental state had deteriorated so much. Yeah, it was just continue or die. There was no quit option to him. Like his world had become that fucking small. Like that's just crazy.
I also, origin of the eggplant emoji, which never made sense to me.
Yeah, that wasn't something I was expecting in this documentary.
Like, oh yeah, they were like his name means eggplant, so they used an eggplant picture, and I was like, is that where it came from?
When they started live streaming it, and they had to have the guy with the little joystick to follow him around the room with the eggplant.
Yeah.
Oh no. But yeah, that's your choice to like take his pants away.
Yeah. So to get back a little bit, we've got two main players in this documentary. You've got Tomoaki Hamatsu, also known as Nasubi, the unfortunate winner to be the start on the segment of the TV show Sensu no Denpa Shonan. And the segment was called A Life in Prizes. Producer is the other main guy in it, is Toshio Tsuchiya, who is known to be a little bit cruel and devious, highlighted by the fact that when he was on screen, they played the Star Wars Imperial March. The main two characters in it.
I'm guessing they couldn't get the rights to the music there.
No.
Yeah.
He really, really reminded me of the teacher in Battle Royale. He really gave me that vibe. The producer did. Like, especially when he's just sitting like at the start when he's introduced them and he's like, you're all here to compete on the island. When he goes in to tell him and he's got like the little party poppers.
Yeah.
That moment in particular, and just the way he approached it, and he's just like firing off the party poppers, and Natsumi is like terrified because he's like, what the hell is going on? What are you doing to me now? And he's like, work it out for yourself. I was like, oh, you're just mean. I don't like you. Well, I didn't like you anyway, but I really don't like you now.
Yeah, his whole idea is that all humans can be entertaining if they are put in a certain situation, which is where the TV show comes in. Denpa Shonan was a challenge show where you'd have to get from one place to the next. Mostly, that's why they said people saw it as a travel show. It's almost like the Race Across the World. They were given a limited budget, or they had to hitchhike across certain countries or continents almost. I think Nasubi was going on thinking that they would be hitchhiking across Africa, which, is quite a task. I don't know whether I'd like to do that or what he actually did. But it was like, was it a lucky dip thing? It was just luck for them getting chosen. So there was 20 contestants, they called them, and they were all comedians pretty much. So they all volunteered for it. They all like cleared their schedules, said they'd be up for doing anything for any length of time because they knew what the show was roughly about. Nasubi was chosen out of all of them, and as we've alluded to, he was essentially taken to a room straight from that, told to strip, and that was it. And the room it's like a bed sit pretty much. It's like a typical tiny Tokyo house or apartment. One room, tiny kitchen, a tiny toilet and bath. And that was pretty much it, apart from a table and an air conditioner heater. Because, yeah, they don't really show you around it. You just see the main room and the kitchen. But that is pretty much it. That is the entire house. So that here was his home for 15 months. And the entire premise was you had to win 1 million yen in prizes. So they had like a bunch of magazines and postcards to send off for competitions. And you had to win everything. He was given some food at the start, but as soon as he won something, that was it. He had to supply himself with everything after that, including clothes.
Of which he won very little.
Well, he
loads of
to
shit,
wash
but,
them
like-
as well. Like you would have one like washing detergent or soap or something.
When they bring him the same cushion, is it in Korea? Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, you brought my cushion. Thanks."
They're like, yeah, take your pants off again. Yeah, because what was it? So a magazine about halfway through the address of the apartment he was in, so they had to come in and move him. And he was just so excited to be outside and have fresh air. And then they take the blindfold off him and he's back in the same setup and all his stuff is there and everything has been moved from the other apartment. And they're like, I gotta take my pants off again, don't I?
I have some questions to magazines and the prizes though. Like, I mean, I've seen competitions in magazines and places where you might win certain supplies of like food and things like that, but not bananas. And certainly not live lobsters. Where's the sweet
The
steak for
spiny
live
lobster
lobsters?
was hilarious because it
It
was
was,
like there was
but-
something moving in this box that was just like packed with sawdust, and it was like, okay, what the fuck has he got?
The thing is with that, he had no utensils, so he had no knives, forks. He didn't have
Yeah.
any
Yeah, I
saucepans.
did question how
You boil it, just let it boil it.
but he didn't have saucepans.
I think he had a saucepan at that point.
This is the thing. Last night I watched 3.5 hours of edited down footage because they did like a best of. A couple of months into it, they did like a best of to recap the show in Japan. And someone's taken this, they've translated it, put it online. So I watched 3.5 hours of footage of what actually happened on it, and yeah, it's a slightly different from what they showed in the documentary. Like, there's no utensils, so when he kills the lobster, his only cooking utensils are a drinks can and biros.
Okay.
So somehow he's killed a lobster and cooked the lobster. Because they showed him cooking steak, and that was like the biro's holding it over. And as he's doing it, the biros are melting. But he's just pulling it off, and all my pen is a little bit bending. And just sort of hands, mouth.
How he didn't get food poisoning?
I'm pretty sure he did a few times. Again, they didn't give him any supplies, no soap, no detergents, no toothpaste. It was 3 months before he got a toothbrush and toothpaste.
Yeah.
And then he does it on camera and he's like, oh, my gums are bleeding.
Oh.
And they send in a doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, no, you're okay.
Oh, they would.
Oh, they
good to go.
would. That bit, yeah. That was one of the questions that I just kept having during it, was just like, how the poor man, like physically, his body just must be completely deteriorating. And you can see it to a degree compared to when he first goes in and first strips. And there are parts where he is like just completely gone. But then, yeah, all that sort of shit of like not brushing his teeth for a month, not being able to wash, and not being able to cook properly, clean properly. Yeah, probably.
Like, he's so happy when he gets the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my
He's
God.
happy when he gets anything.
Yeah, when he gets the vacuum cleaner, but you can see the difference as well, because he's not been able to clean the floor, which he's almost sleeping on, like, and being in all that dirt as well. Especially in the middle of the summer in Japan, when it gets unbelievably hot and disgusting and sweaty, white air conditioning running.
And he didn't get anything. That's the part that blows my
He got
mind.
trauma.
He got nothing. Like,
fucking trauma. So much trauma. I bet you he's never going on a plane with anybody ever again. Because like when he gets out, when he gets to the 1 million yen,
yeah,
and they're like, oh yeah, Mongolian barbecue, eat all the food, go on, have a great day out. We're taking you to Korea and we're going to do it all over again.
I like that they did at least were like, yeah, no, it wasn't just him agreeing. There was like a 4 hour conversation with the producer being like, please do it, please do it, please do it, please do. I'm sure he was more manipulative than that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then he just to earn enough money to get himself a plane ticket home.
Yeah, the language barrier thing. Just I'd have been done at that point. It's not a hope I'd have been able to learn another language while also doing that.
Yeah, I'd have just cried and lay down on the floor and given up. Turned into Marge on the plane. Let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. Watch me smear walls with things. Like full bananas at that point. I couldn't do it. I don't know how he did it, because if I'd been in his position the first time round and getting out of the room, yes. But being told you're being taken to another country where you don't speak the language and we're going to do it to you here, no. Not a hope in hell. Like that would have been it. I would have cracked. I don't know how he, like, fair play to him. I don't know how he did it. And then when they realized that he had worked out that he had to have been near his goal.
Well, even just the way you could see he starts gaming the system.
Yeah, and he knows what to apply for now at this point. He's like, I know I have to go for all the food ones or the things that people don't apply for.
Yeah.
As well. To get, like, instead of going for high monetary value items, just getting loads and loads of basic stuff.
Yeah, and I suppose after doing it for that long, you would have
I need this.
gotten yourself a system like the car tires as well.
4-wheel drive in a Nasubi.
Yeah, they were. So again, on those videos I found, they listed off every competition he entered. One of the months he entered 4,500 competitions.
Jesus.
And stuff like the fruit was, because in Japan fruit's really expensive. So when he got that was like the tipping point of the thing, because they got so many bananas, and bananas like really expensive. Same with the tires were quite a big item as well.
Yeah.
Because it also listed everything he won and how much it was worth. You've seen everything go up, and it's like English lessons like 10,000 yen. It's like, that's actually a good win.
I felt so bad for the first delivery. That wasn't for him. That was the food delivery driver.
That came, yeah.
That was like so mean. Production let him walk up to that door.
I wouldn't be surprised if production did that on purpose.
Yeah, just to get his hopes up.
That's the thing when I'm watching it. There's an element of where I'm going. I think they're completely manipulating it. They're getting all the applications, all the competition things. They're seeing everything and they're going, okay, we can give them this, we can give them that. Because when you watch the videos where it's going chronologically, because the documentary does mess it up a little bit here and there, because they're telling a story.
You can see by what's in the room as well a lot.
Yeah, but they are like, he's going, oh, I need to get rice kind of thing. And then because he's asking for stuff, or they're thinking this would be entertaining. Like the dog food in general was like, he had no food. So it's like, I'm going to give him dog food. He's going to eat it now. And the thing of not actually winning any clothes at any point. The only clothing he won, which I don't show, is a porn star's underwear. So a pair of
they show him holding up a pair of lacy underwear, and then in Korea he wins a pair of like woolly shorts or something like that.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Well, I'll take them back off again." They were like itchy or something. And I was like, they would be like, "Oh, they were wool."
And then some shoes. That was the only clothing he won. And I'm like, surely there's competitions just for winning a t-shirt.
Yeah, there's got to be. And you would think he would have applied for, if there were competitions for clothes, they would have been what he would have been applying for a lot of the time. So yeah, it does see.
Because if they were trying to protect as well where he was, because that was the thing they were saying, the place got leaked. If once the show became kind of popular, and anywhere that was running these competitions in these magazines, like somebody would have been like, oh, hey, it's Nasubi,
yeah.
Yeah, like he's probably written in for it. Like people would have been going through like Willy Wonka's golden ticket.
Well, yeah, because he'd have to.
Because that would be like really good promo as well for their company to be like, oh, look, it's on. Like he's won this week.
Yeah,
you know,
which they did with
presumably have been putting his own name on the postcards.
Yeah.
I think they actually did it with the rice. They sold some footage off to a company, and they advertised the rice using him. And that was when he was in the house itself. So they were making money off him that way.
Yeah, because they've had, like, if they did some, like, anything like that now, yeah, all the companies would have been, like, pulling his name out and sending him, like, bonus items or things that were branded, or it'd be just a massive, like, PR unboxing.
Yeah, no, that does. Yeah, when you're kind of thinking about it like that, yeah, the producers probably would have had to
At least in
change
the
a lot.
later half, like
Yeah,
once that segment started to pick up, yeah, because you would have had people being like, "Oh, cool, we found him. We'll give him our shit,"
or even just like what happened with the first time press and
or somebody
finance
being
and
like,
things
"Yeah,
like
we
that,
found him."
being able to figure out where he was. I'm sure it would have happened, especially after the first time he was found. It probably wouldn't have taken that long to find him the second time. Um,
Yeah, I'm guessing the
but
second time they probably set up an address so the production team got the given the gifts rather than the delivery driver. Because I'm guessing that's who
Yeah, it's
leaked
probably
it.
like a
yeah,
PO box or something. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first two parts of it, and then the third act, which took a bit of a turn.
yeah,
Because yeah, he gets out the house, they show him outside, and his whole thing was he wanted to be a comedian. He's in the house to become famous, and then going out, he couldn't live up to the comedy side of things he wanted to be known for.
mm,
I think he put it quite eloquently. He was like, the only thing he learned from Life of Prizes was how to win at Life of Prizes.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was the way that they like
Announced that he
like
won.
tell him that he's won was fucking horrible. Like putting him in another room and then having the room explode and there just being hundreds of people around him and just his sheer
No,
confusion and like you
it
can see
broke
how
my
overwhelming
heart
he is.
before that when they put him in and they take the blindfold off and he's just like, oh, okay, I'll take my suit off then.
Oh yeah, it's
And he just
time to strip again.
and he just strips off and I'm like, no, put your pants back on. Who's letting him do this? And then leaving him sitting on the stage completely butt naked with just the pillow. I was like, please somebody give him a blanket, a robe, something. Like this is actually like fucking cruel
Yeah,
to do
and
this
then
to this person.
and then
And then make him
telling him,
answer like questions from the press, butt naked.
well, yeah, telling him then live on TV, by the way, that everything you've done for the last year and a half has been seen by everybody.
Oh, and those journals that we gave you for so you
Yeah,
could be
they've been
like,
sold to people.
yeah, they've been published.
Like
Did he get any money from that or any royalties?
I'm
or
assuming he
anything?
got
Like that's his property. That's his intellectual property.
I
Like,
think he signed it all away. He didn't sign a contract. That was the thing.
guessing any wealth that he garnered from it would only have come from afterwards through interviews and endorsements and things like that. And that he got nothing for his whole time on the show. Because, yeah, he didn't seem to sign any contracts. He's just like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think they said on the because I also downloaded This American Life. They did an interview with him, and they had someone explain the show. And they said like everyone who went up for the stuff on that show never signed any contracts. So pretty much they're just like volunteering for it for just being famous. And a lot of people on the show were famous for a certain amount of time, but assuming he was like the biggest star they produced. I think after that, his segment finished, the show went downhill, which is a good thing because they'd have to top that. And I can't.
Yeah.
like we laugh about the girl who has to spend the weekend with the two red pandas in the apartment. But that was only a weekend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose things like that haven't necessarily gone away either. There's still shows like that in Japan? Yeah, I think there's shows like that.
Yeah, I remember like the late 90s or 2000s, you had like Fear Factor in America where they were like pushing people off cliffs and shit like that and making people eat disgusting things.
Yeah.
And you've got like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here Now because it's fun to watch famous people eat disgusting things. A lot of it involves eating disgusting things.
But this is another level though. Like what he went through is just
Yeah, and at least it was a house full of people. Like it wasn't completely isolated because that was the thing he was saying. He was so lonely.
and yeah, the goal in Big Brother isn't survive.
No,
either. It's like do these stupid.
Is.
Well, yeah, but it's in a completely different way. It's do these stupid tasks and get along with these people and don't get voted out. This guy, it's like live, and the only way we're giving you to live is like win prizes completely at random. So good luck. See ya.
And especially because there is like a tradition in Japan of people who like just become hermits, but they do that voluntarily. And just, they just don't leave and they don't interact. And because you can have everything delivered to your house, they never really have to leave or meet anybody. And all their socialization is online. They work online and they just live in their rooms. But they're not stripped of everything and just made to like survive. and then getting jerked about by a dickhead producer who comes in the middle of the night with a fucking flashlight being like, get up, here's a fucking mask, here's a blankie, we're not even going to give you pants to take you outside. Like,
but when he gets out, they do focus a bit on like how it affected him, and like, you know, he talks about how he couldn't talk to people and he didn't know where to look when he was talking to them and that kind of stuff. I was a little bit like, they very much gloss over any physical damage done to him. They just say the 15 months in isolation took its toll on his body, and I'm like, how? Because I'm sure it was serious.
yeah, he would have had like all sorts of malnutrition because he's not eating a balanced diet. He's eating dog food long term too, which is safe for human consumption, but
Not recommended.
Not recommended, not for that long. And like lack of proper hygiene and care would take its toll.
He did like 2 weeks of dog food alone, dog food and water.
At least it was the dry food.
Yeah, the dry food. Like I say,
Yeah,
the documentary did kind of gloss over certain things. There was when he first went in the room, there was a radio and a phone, so he could enter radio sweepstakes. And I think they took it off him once the show started taking off, and they were talking about it on the radio. And there was one little clip in they showed where he got like a cold call from someone offering English lessons.
Yeah.
And he ended up talking to the person so much that they wanted to meet up. They were like local, and it's like, oh, we should meet up. And he's like, yeah, that would be kind of awkward.
All right.
So there was like human connection right at the start. And it's kind of, they just took the phone away from him eventually. There was a TV in his room at one point. They couldn't.
But they didn't, they took the aerial out.
Yeah.
He couldn't receive signal. And then he got like a PlayStation or a VCR or something like that, so he actually could use something with the TV.
Yeah. Well, they let him keep the TV he won in Korea because he needed it to learn how to speak the language to enter things. They were like, well, it doesn't make a difference. Like he doesn't understand this.
And they would have been less likely to have him show up on the news and
but the
TV.
fact that they were actively like Truman showing, like him and like sneaking in and through cameras and then going in and fucking with shit and being like, oh no, we can't have that.
That's kind of where I expected the end of the documentary to go. Not that I don't appreciate seeing everything he did. I figured that part of the documentary would be Nasubi's life afterwards. But I also thought the other part of the end of the documentary would have been looking back at the horrible shit this producer has done. And he kind of gets away with it. Like, they don't really... I felt they don't really delve into the morality of it that much, because what that guy did is not cool. He doesn't like it. It's like he acknowledges only in the most tangential ways what he did was fucked up and wrong. Like, it's just that he can barely see, like, just in his periphery, he can just about see, oh, that thing I did over there, massively wrong, but I don't really see it. It's fine.
He was like, oh yeah, well, if it had gone too far. So mate, you're lucky he didn't. Honestly, you're like really lucky he didn't.
He claws it back a little bit at the very end after he gets, was it like a web show or something that he brought him back on, I'm guessing a good few years later when he's doing the whole Everest thing.
Yeah, I think the show come back online.
And he's like, I was fairly sure he wanted to strangle me. But when they cut to the producer now giving his interview in whatever weird like modern art sculpture place he's in by the looks of it, he says something about he feels like he owes him a lot and he would do anything for him. But yeah, he gets off too lightly in my view.
Yeah, that's the thing. I like the documentary. I like how it ended because it kind of showed how nice a guy he was and how good he is. But there was a lot missing from it in terms of
also how incredibly unlucky he is.
Yeah.
Like, stuck in a room, get out. 2011 earthquake event, which was everything that happened with the nuclear power plant and that happening to be his hometown and trying to find out about your family and everything like that. And raising money, going to Nepal. There being a fucking earthquake in Nepal, which was like one of the most devastating the country's ever experienced. And then getting stuck in and caught in a fucking avalanche on Everest.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. And that avalanche was just terrifying. It really is. Like, I was watching it going, oh my God, like, are we No, thank you.
One of the things that I really liked there about the end, though, was that when he's in Fukushima helping out, the way everybody there reacted was, and then the effect that it had on him was just like a really nice thing. That for everybody there, it was like, oh look, here's our favorite son, Fukushima's favorite son, the one who's famous that everybody knows, and he's come back here to help us all out, whereas he's just viewing it as, I'm going home because home needs help. And through that, then him kind of realizing that, like, oh yeah, that's the best way I can help people, is like, they seem to be happy with me just being here and helping out, and that's what he wants to do. And then you see it again then in Nepal. The first thing he does is just go into like help mode. And I suppose it is kind of, he touches on it a little bit himself of, he had to rely on himself for so long, and how horrible that was, that he's kind of on this view now that just the best way to be is to be helping everybody all the time, and everybody needs to support each other, because on your own fucking sucks.
Everyone needs to be more like Nasubi.
Yeah. That is one strong dude.
Jesus Christ, you're one the fucking tape measure who comes up to him in the makeup chair. How he didn't like hit her. Dude, like, piss off.
That as well, like
Blows of his face.
The documentary starts with him saying that he got bullied for that very thing as a child, and it affected him quite badly. And then, yeah, that is basically his name for the rest of his life. It's kind of and then, yeah, when you see things like that, like people coming out and measuring his face, like, to the poor man, look at everything he's been through. Don't measure his fucking face.
So you said this was available on Disney Plus?
That's where we watched it last night. Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, everyone can watch it on Disney Plus. Go watch it now, because it's horrible, frustrating, but at the end, it's got a good message.
No,
enjoyable.
It's so beautiful. But yeah, I'm infuriated on his behalf.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a watch. Enjoyable might not be the right word, but yeah, I highly would recommend that everybody go watch it, because just what that guy went through is intense and insane, and more people should know about it.
Cool. So where can we find you online?
On all the podcast places where you get your podcasts as Monorants at the movies, or Monorants the boys, and on social places like Instagram and Twitter at Rants Mono on Twitter, and Monorants_that_boys on Instagram.
Nice.
There's never on Instagram, so just listen, I guess.
As always, my stuff is on totalcultzone.com. You can find my Substack details on there, and my YouTube, which is taking off. I would really like to put those documentaries up on my YouTube channel so everyone can watch them. But Disney struck me down within seconds of me putting one up last night, so not going to happen. I will put a link in the show notes where you can actually download them and have a watch, because you get a lot more out of them, especially that seal. The seal has a bigger role in his life in that house.
Walking the seal was so sweet.
Yeah, I felt like there was going to be more of the seal when he started walking it.
He can have a conversation with, interact with.
The seal essentially become his Wilson. Yeah, he was like talking to it all the time.
I kind of hoped the lobster would for a second, but then I suppose hunger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had a nice hot bath. It smells delicious. It's what you would have wanted.